Baba Booey, Baba Booey. Can you hear me live on the long and short of it? Welcome back to the program. A little late here because we were too busy talking about this coin I'm going to release. And we're all too busy getting paid on Tom Lee's stock. So hang on a second. Let me make sure this is up and running. BMNR, if you guys don't know about it, you should, because the stock's literally going to go up 40x from here. No broke boys. Oh, man. Love that song. No introductions needed today. Hold on a second. I have no clothes on, so let me put something on. And we're back. What's up, homies? Yeah, so anybody got time to get dressed, right? I'm not wearing any pants if anybody's wondering. So, you guys, I don't know if you guys saw my website or if you saw my post. If you're not following me on YouTube, you should. StockTwits, Twitter, everywhere you could find me. Google me, Kenny Glick. Google the Warlock. That'll be another way to find me. And at Hit the Bid Radio. And if you saw last week when I was on Twitter, I was showing you why the market, and again, I've been saying this since April 9th, which was the Trump candle, the 12.5% move off lows, which are now new generational lows. They were generational lows at that point, but then we broke the 443.14, right? And ever since, there's the Trump candle, 443.14 over here. That was a massive double top. We broke it, came back, both show broke it. Your orange line is your 9-month VWAP. And then we had the infamous May 12th power gap. If you haven't heard, power gap. So as a shorter, who is more or less got my ass kicked for most of my career as a shorter, right? And again, I told you all the stories about why I like shorting stocks and whatnot. I did well, but that was once, 2000, 2001, and I was in the process of getting my ass kicked, and luckily the market crashed. So whether lucky or good, and then I always enjoyed. I thought shorting would be a way to go. So, but most of the time, shorting is short-lived, and you're going to die, especially in this market. It's basically illegal right now to short. So all the lessons I've learned as a trader are now my personal lessons of where I would be misled or misguided or just stupid to think that the market wasn't about to go up. So now it's not, we don't go up in 10% increments, 20, 30, we go up in 50% increments. So that's why when we started to rally off the fake crash, and that's what it was, just like the fake crash we had in August, it was fake. They create something to start a panic to get the market to reset, because it's only built to go up now. They broke the market in 1987 to only go up, and they reinforced it with the flash crashes. That was the algorithms going in. So since the crash of 87 and 2 flash crashes and, the end of capitalism in 08 and 09, the market's been fixed. I call it broken, because now it's broken to only go up. And I think now it's so broken that the new down will actually be up. I don't think we're ever going to have even a down week for the next 18 months, maybe 3 years. And I'm being serious about it, because I've been a victim to this ridiculousness my whole life. And, I made some decent money in 2000, which I lived off for quite some time. And I was delusional to think that shorting was a viable way to make money. It's not. But now that I see the other side, all those times where I think, oh, this is a good time to be short, good time to be short, good time to be short. No, now I just buy. So that's why I've been dubbed the most bullish bear in history. And I'll get to the BMR, the Tom Lee stock in a second. But just, again, the fake crash, this was last August, right? Does anybody remember the name of it? Yeah, it was the yen carry unwinding trade. What does that mean? Right, nothing. Nobody will even talk about it. It won't be written about in books because it was bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And the picks went nuts. And then what happened? We rallied back to all-time highs. So now, this correction that started as a real correction, blow off top at all-time highs. Solid and I were shorting up here, and we were looking for a pullback with that multiple time frame VWAP. And we got it. We nailed it. We were shorting up here, covering most down there. That was the 1 year VWAP at the time. That was our target, to get to the pivot point from the beginning of the year. And it lined up, take my word for it, it was right there. Right? So then we broke down from there, and then we tested it from the underside. So we remained bearish even before the Trump cardboard day when he started yelling about
your audio is messed up on the website. It's like cutting in and out.
Tariffs and okay, hold on. Hey, so if you guys are out there, stock market media, I need a new microphone and a new computer. So for some reason, it's just not pushing this up anymore. I don't know. Restream is eating me up. You guys hear me on the? There he is, Trump riding the giraffe. You heard about that? Oh, it seems to be working. Hey, what's up? All right. It's working on YouTube. All right. So anyway, we're talking about power gaps, right? I'm going to keep talking about power gaps because 8 years from now, when the market sells off again, right, and then starts to come back, and you're thinking, oh, it's gone too far. Shh. Power gap. Power gap ends the conversation. Power gap ends the conversation for every stock, but more particularly out of a bearish move. And again, this was a correction that became a crash, a self-induced crash, right? Everybody was out there rallying, all my liberal friends. Oh, Trump took my retirement. I'm like, put your sign down and buy the dip. No human being is ever going to break the market. This is a buy opportunity of a lifetime. And you didn't have to be the first one in or the second one in. After the confirmation of the pullback and then the break of the Trump candle itself, there it is. But then this consolidation right here. So this orange line was going to be, an area where we were going to consolidate. Inevitably, we're going to go higher anyway. But the bull market waits for nobody, right? So the power gap, the idea of what happened here was the market was going to come into resistance. You'll have to take my word for it. Right here. This area right here, this area here, and getting back above the area right here. All of that was going to put up a fight. You have to take my word for it. Trust me. It was going to put up a fight. But we'll never know. You know why? Because we power fucking gapped right above it. In your face. In your face. So the power gap, what it is the market usually is coming off a low.
Ooh, I'm skeptical. Ooh, there's another shoe to drop. Ooh, I'm not sure about these tariffs. Ooh, this bear market could last forever. Ooh, technology's done. Ooh, chip sector's going to be dead for 20 years. Oh, tech's over. No one's investing in the United States.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I heard it all before, right? No one's investing in the United States, right? They're pulling money out of the United States. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that. By the way, Hood's going to 120. Hope you guys still own it. From last week, remember? Hood breaks 80, goes to 120. Learn. This is not just irrational exuberance. This is psychotic exuberance. We're still in it. You know why? Because we power gap. You get it now? Power gap. So let me explain the power gap one more time. We power gapped above all that resistance. That could have taken weeks. That could have taken, it would have taken probably weeks weeks, if not maybe a month, to consolidate what we were going to go into. And inevitably we would have went higher. But we power gapped. So the power gap, if anybody was debating, oh, maybe I should buy back into this market. Oh, yeah, maybe I should have sold it at lows. Oh, man, the market never goes down. The longs are still debating. Debate's over. You just power gap. So now they're all left wanting. They want in. Money needs to be put to use. They just missed their last opportunity to partake in the rally from hell. But more importantly, the shorts, morons, psychotic, delusional morons, right? I know, I'm one of them. They were debating whether or not to cover the rest of their shorts, even though they should have covered it when we broke over the Trump candle. But they're dumb, and they reload because they keep thinking every pause is going to roll over, and they're going to make their money back from being short. You're never getting out. So now you power gap. So the shorts have been fucked hard, right? Sorry to use such graphic language, but this is power gapping we're talking about here. You power gapped, right? So that power gap traps the shorts and leaves the longs wanting. So everybody on the face of this verse, the metaverse, the megaverse, the multiverse, and any other verse you can think of, they're looking to buy. Nobody's selling. Power gap. And all we do is consolidate and go all the way to all-time highs. And now we've gapped again. And we're at all-time highs. So every pullback now is met with a tenfold retracement back to the upside. So if we sell off for half an hour, we're going up for 300 minutes. We sell off for a day and a half, we're going up for 11 and a half days. You pull back for 2 hours, we got 20 hours to get the upside. And that's been the thing. But more importantly, want to see something cool? This is the coolest shit I'm going to show you all day. So when the market is so cutesy and it actually tries to pull back, right? We've seen Wisconsin selling, right? Wouldn't it be cool to know that the market's rigged and where the pullbacks will stop so you can buy back in, or knowing that if it does break a certain level that we could actually go down for more than 7 minutes or 14 minutes. Here it is. So when you join my website, my lovely website, you get these lines, this blue line and this orange line. And that's all you need to trade. RSI, bullshit. Fibonacci, fuck a Fibonacci. This is the shit right here. It's one line and another line. So when the market starts pulling back on Friday, oh my God, what are we doing? Going down on Friday? I never understand what's happening. Where did we go down to? We pulled back to the prior day VWAP. It held. So there'll be a day, maybe sometime 8 years from now, where we're actually going to break prior day VWAP and continue to sell off. Will that be today? Probably not. And they tried it also. And by the way, you have to take my word for it. And again, this is why I invite you to come to the room and spend some time with us. We're going to have an open house next week. Everybody's welcome to come bask in the glory of VWAP and me, of course. But I'm just a purveyor of the wisdom. I know how to read the tea leaves better than everybody because I invented this stuff. I've been trading since inception. Nobody was a day trader before me. We invented the term. I've been doing it since 97. And like I said, I've been waiting to find something that works this well, and now it's going on 12 years. Oh! Remember Thursday when the market started to sell off? You're like, oh my God, maybe today's the day we're actually going to go down. No, we don't go down anymore. We pull back to the prior day VWAP, hold it, and then we rally, and then we test VWAP from on top. Look at that, to the penny.
Kenny, how did it go to the blue line? Right to the set.
Exactly, because the market's pre-programmed. And now the market's programmed to do what? Consolidate QQQ between 470. So now the consolidation, right? Here's the last consolidation. And then you go back to Friday, right? Consolidation, right? And now you go back to today. Not seeing much of the upside because now we're just consolidating these gains. So now any consolidation above this price and now a prior day VWAP, let me go show you the prior day VWAP, 548.45. So now this is how somebody says, so how do you stay long in a market that you want to take profits in, but it never goes down? Great question. Sell a little bit and then raise your stops. Because right now you got to be thinking 552.50 close today, gap and go tomorrow because the sun is out. And again, if you don't know the checks how to remain bullish, ready? Watch. There is some sort of oxygen filling my lungs, bullish. The sun is out, bullish. No nuclear cloud headed my way, no explosion, bullish. Markets open, bullish. So basically everything's bullish until now, right? So I'm waiting as the former president of the Bear Foundation. I'm waiting for this moment. Let me know. Let me know when it happens. And that's the price. So these red lines, by the way, these red lines is what I do each day. Is where I put trades on myself and some support. But let me clean it up for you. Right now, fake out, shake out. The breakout is kind of weak today because, it's sluggish. Everyone's already cashed out, right? Nobody's thinking about anything except what am I doing on the 4th of July weekend? Who's coming over and do I need to spend time with my crazy uncle or should I just ignore him? You're all cashed out, right? Right? So now you're going to get less momentum, but momentum enough where you got paid, right? So there's the foe, there's your show, there's your bro, and basically the market's been consolidating. So the only time now, and again, this is how you stay along this market, my target right now is 564.50, right? And that was for July 4th, not the 4th is Friday, 5th, 6th, 7th, right? So I think we rally. And again, we usually, when you're in a bull market like we are, perpetual bull market, holiday shortened weeks, bullish. Then you get Thursday. So the idea is that, oh my God, we're at all-time highs. Maybe we should sell something just in case. There's that just in case trade. There's always, again, since 9/11, again, I have post-traumatic stress because I lived it. They're still out there. And you'll get some people selling to protect gains, to hedge themselves going into the holiday weekend, right? So that's those sellers and those put protections and maybe some shorters. Then what happens is nothing happens over the holiday weekend. You hang out with your crazy uncle. Everybody's drunk, blah, blah, blah. You come back on Monday, market gaps and goes. So I think we're going to rally another. I'm being conservative. I was thinking maybe another 12.5 points. We got 2.5, so I'm thinking 10. So 560 was the goal. We're looking for another 10 to go into, next week. And then July 11th, I think we actually could see some selling that amounts to something. But no, it'll be cool. So far since we've been doing this show, we've had reasons to short the Qs. I'm going to short the Qs right now, see if it works. I'm sure. Let's go. You know why? Because it's a weird coincidence that it seems like every time I do this show in the middle of the day, we get this tiny little sell-off, right? Now, again, these tiny little sell-offs don't amount to anything generally, but you see how we broke a new high, then rolled over, and now we're testing VWAP. If this candle now doesn't close above the high of its candle and then it rolls, chances are we're going to pull back, the 60 cents right here. And again, this is just typical day trading. And we're kind of in a sideways market. In the middle of the day in a bull market tends to, you'll lose some buying excitement. We kind of meander. So if the meandering breaks VWAP, you tend to just meander a little bit lower. And again, you don't get overly excited about shorting a market that never goes down, but now you're seeing a reason here. So this next candle, you're already wrong because it broke the high of that candle, but you're not going to be wrong until it breaks over the 70. So now this follow-through candle, if this now breaks VWAP bottom of this candle, that's when you get the follow-through. And that's, basically the only reason you want to be short. And then one good thing about shorting, you're going to lose, right? But you test it every once in a while. You're going to lose, right? But you're not going to lose unless it breaks back over where it kind of broke down from. So the top of this candle, right? So if you're shorting some Qs, which is, virtually against the law, you see that price right there? where it broke down from it and got the top of that candle, the bottom of this candle, that's your first line of defense. You don't want to see it breaking over there. So now in the next 3 to 4 minutes, we'll know if we're right or wrong on this trade. Wrong, you're out. It's okay to be wrong, just don't stay wrong. Right, we break VWAP, we break the bottom of the candle, and we go searching for our friend down there at 550. And if you got 400 shares at 543 or 546, and it pulls back to 40 cents, you make yourself $180, $200. It is what it is. All right, so let's go talking about power gaps, right? You understand why the market's so strong, right? Because the shorts are on the wrong side, the longs are still chasing, and everybody wants into the bull market from hell. And that's what it is. I mean, if you put a gun to my head and said, will we be at all-time highs this year? I would have said no, and I'd be dead. Because even when we started coming back, and even though I've seen this market do this before, I thought maybe that consolidation, that May 12th area, was going to put up a fight, and then we'd have a harder time. But once we power gapped, it was inevitably we're going to highs. But more importantly, let's talk Tom Lee now. All right, let's talk Tom Lee. We know we're losing money on this future, right? You've already accepted your fate, right? But so now you got to let it breathe. You know, you don't want to do anything that's chop. So we're short some cues just for fun, right? Not taking it too serious because you know you're going to lose, right? Why put it on in the first place? I ask myself that all the time. But again, I'm going to give it a shot because coincidentally, the last 2 times that I was doing the show midday, we actually had a little sell-off that we got paid. That's all. But let's talk about Tom Lee because that's the major one. That's the money maker today. So if you guys don't know, BMNR, right? So this was a dog shit loser stock that nobody knew about. Right, here's the downtrend. So it came out, nobody cared. Nobody cared, nobody cared, nobody cared, nobody cared, nobody cared, nobody cared, nobody cared. The stock was going to zero. Right? And then suddenly Tom Lee comes on the TV today and he makes everybody care. So now, strap on your irrational exuberance, psychotically exuberant hat. Tom Lee likes the stock. Oh, and it's all-time highs. That must mean it's going to at least $50. So that was our premise. Tom Lee likes the stock. It went from obscurity to everybody wants in. And if everybody wants in, did you guys notice what the market just did? We just rallied the Qs, went from 398 to 551 in a matter of 2 months. You're telling me Tom Lee he likes the stock, so now what do we have to do? We have to go up tenfold. And as irrational as that sounds, look where we went today. And we rode this bad boy the whole day. And what was exciting about it, as soon as I learned of it, I bought it. Tom Lee's involved, I'm in. Bang, got paid. Then it came out, starts ripping, pulls back, and holds the VWAP. And starts to rally. And then tests it from on top. Buy it. Moron that I am, I thought, making 2 points on the trade was a good idea, so I sold most of it right here, and I held my last 100 shares, and it was pretty exciting and fun. And some of us, even got back involved when it broke through 20, because that was a big moment. 20 got us 22.50, 22.50 got us 25, 25 got us 27.50, 27.50. Now, I got to tell you, I'm sorry. Jimmy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'm sorry. I thought the stock was going to go to $30 easy. And it only went to 29. And by the way, let me just point out some more rigging of the market and how it's manipulated. Here you've got a stock that went from complete obscurity, dog shit, nobody cares, to the hottest stock on the planet, right? You went from trading a couple of million shares a day. By the way, the Q short is working right now. If anybody wants to take some profit, we're up at 20 cents now. Oh, now we're not. Oh, now we're not. I'm going to bid in at 55025 just to say I made some money on this trade if it pulls back to the quarter. I'm not going to cover the whole thing unless I have to. But here, BMRN. So Tom Lee has resurrected this dog shit stock, whatever it is. Bitmine Immersion Technologies. Who gives a shit? Nobody cares what they do. Tom Lee's involved. Tom Lee said something. now the stock is having an epic squeeze. Not only is it being epically squeezed, but it's a blue sky breakout. And in this bull market from hell, if you get a blue sky breakout, you're going up tenfold. Tenfold. Never before in the history of the market can you just assume a stock's going 10x. In this market, you can, because that's where we're at. So I'm not going to be delusional, right? So everything I've been learning about, okay, so now stock breaks out, it just didn't go 2%, 10%, goes up 1,000%. So our target today was $40 because the stock was $4 on Friday. But that doesn't matter. It's not about where it's going to go to. It's more importantly, what are you going to do when it starts to go the other direction? So we sold it. And me and my son, we just took out a loan to buy the stock, right? And I said, son, if this stock breaks VWAP and it faux show grows later today, we're going to buy 1 million shares. And I'm being serious about this right now. And by the way, this Q short, see, waste of time, right back to where we shorted it. Anyway, this stock, right? You see that high of 29? I want to tell you right now, I don't care who you are, what you're thinking, or if you like Tom Lee or don't like Tom Lee, or think this market's running out of steam, or whatever your notion is, if this stock breaks 29, it's going to $50. And it probably does it today. And any consolidation that doesn't lead to a breakdown, the stock's going to 120. And then it's going to go to 250 because that's what stocks do now. They just don't go up. They go parabolic, right? So right now, this stock's doing everything we want. There's the foe, there's the show, and here comes the bro. I was hoping this little would be, if it was under the VWAP and did what it's doing right now, I was about to buy 1 million shares of this thing. My life savings, basically. Anything I could find, take out a loan, call my uncles, anybody that I could borrow money from, I'd be putting it into the name. Because that's irrational exuberance, and that's how you make money in a bull market from hell. Because since the power gap, you got to be out of your mind if you're not bullish. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. And that's where we're at. Now you're probably asking yourself, so why did you just short the Qs? Because VWAP is my life, right? So I'm seeing no reason to go short. There's the VWAP break. There's the pop. Now, again, we haven't broken back above. So now, if you're still short from the half, again, and if what you're taking away from this moment right here, look how difficult it is for a $550 stock that just rallied from $398. It can't even pull back a quarter. A quarter. Give me a freaking quarter. And you want to short this market and you want to be my latex salesman? You're going to short this market where a $550 product that just rallied 161 points can't even pull back a quarter? Why? I don't know, but we are. I do it just for fun, just to prove that we're never going down. And again, look, if it goes to 55025, I'm covering some. So let's go back to this BMRN for a second, right? So somebody said, and I know you guys were joking, what do they do? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. BitMine, immersion. There's only one stock that I like better than this one right now, and it's the symbol. Because if you know anything about irrational exuberance, you buy stocks because the symbol makes you laugh, or the ticker, right? GLXY. What is it? I don't know. But in this market, the symbol is Galaxy, as every stock's going to the moon, and the word digital is in the name of the company. How could you fail? How could you fail? What's Galaxy? Who cares? Right? That's where you want to be. You want to trade stocks because they're going up. That's your only reason to buy stocks right now. Why are you buying this one? What do they do? It doesn't matter. It's going up. Name of the stock is Galaxy Digital. How could you fail? Right? And then you look at the chart and you say, oh, actually doesn't look too bad. And the next thing you know, you got yourself a new name to watch. That's about the faux show bro, all-time highs possibly. I just learned of this stock a couple of days ago, right? Look at that. Andy Dufresne, consolidation. There's your fake Trump crash. And now this thing's about to consolidate and break out. And stocks that go through 2660, if you guys have learned, and by the way, if hopefully you guys have been still sticking with my SRAD, right? And by the way, I'm not taking credit for a bull market. It's very hard to not be, it's hard to be wrong and long right now. It really is. So I'm going to tell you about this BMRN. So BMNR, and that's the last time I'm going to call it by the ticker. We're going to call it Tom Lee from now on. So anybody that needs to know, this is Tom Lee. This is buying into Tom Lee, Mr. Bull, right? So he mentioned it, right? Now it went from obscurity to the hottest stock on the planet. What's going to happen tonight? People are going to read about it. Oh, what's this Tom Lee thing all about? Oh my God. Bitcoin Immersion. That's a really great sounding company. I'm going to buy it. Tom Lee says it's good. I'm in. And all those people that, and they're not going to look at the charts, right? Somebody like me says, oh man, I ain't getting involved in this thing. It was $4 the other day. I ain't buying it here. Fuck that. Sure you are. That's bull market. You buy and you buy and you buy until it dies. You buy until it dies. Right? And now look at this thing. $4 stock rips to 30, consolidation. So now I'm hoping, again, I don't want to root against you if you're involved in it. We've cashed out. We got paid. I hope it breaks down under the VWAP, rips everybody apart, crashes all the way down to 13, because when momentum stocks come back later in the afternoon and break VWAP, 90% of the time they go higher. So I'd rather wait for that perfect scenario. But the thing is, if this starts to rip later tonight into the aftermarket and it breaks 29, it might go to 50 tonight, because the illiquidity of the aftermarket will create even more of a frenzy and more of a squeeze because of the lack of liquidity, massive increasing volume, and you got yourself a stock that can legitimately go to $120. And I'm not screwing around. I've seen this program. I've seen this stock before. I've seen this moment. I've lived every moment there is to live as far as the stock market's concerned. And that's why shorting the Qs, again, it's a waste of time. You see how it's a waste of time? You see what I'm saying? You could feel it, right? You could feel it. We can't even break VWAP and pull back a measly quarter on a $550 index that has rallied basically every day, right? Pretty much every day since April 9th. And it's just relentless. We can't even get a quarter out of a short. So I ask again, what's the point? You want to short stocks? I'll show you what stock we shorted. And this, you'll get a kick out of this. I shorted SRAD today. You know why? Because we're in tune with the stock. Gaps up, they usually sell it off, it stabilizes, and then it goes up. That's why I still own this stock. It's one of the only stocks I own. But today, I was like, you know what? Let's play the trend. It usually gaps up and sells off to the prior day VWAP. Why don't we make that money? So we shorted the stock at 28 and a quarter, using the top of that pivot and the high that days are out. And then blue line, orange line, we covered most of it. And now we're short a little bit of it. We still own it in our swing trade long-term account, but intraday, and this is how I became a trader, my friends, I would let's say I owned 12 to 15 stocks, which was a lot. Everybody owned too many stocks back in the 90s, 2000. And I would just sit here and watch the stocks that I own. And when they got weak, instead of selling out of them, I would short them in my day trading account. So I felt like I was doing two things. I was hedging my portfolio, and I was making or creating alpha, as they say. And wait a minute, it's getting really weird. SLDE. No. So this is a weird coincidence. SLDE just triggered a buy. I'm not involved, and I'm short the Qs. We're actually living the same moment we were living a couple of days ago. And by the way, this Q short's all but done. Waste of time. That's why I do a couple of hundreds just to prove a point. And if it's a loss, it's a loss. But right now, it's not a complete loss yet. And as soon as you let go of the button, when you short the Qs, you should expect to lose, right? But one of these days, there it went, and it's gone. And it's gone. There you go, $80. Waste. Prove my point almost every day. So the point is now again, I'm going to be bent trying to get my $80 back. But if it doesn't break the high today, I might try to short again. But let's go back to this Tom Lee stock. I'm hoping to see what I just described. A little fake out, shake out under the VWAP, and then you look for the breakout. So what else are we looking at today? Oh, wait a second. Why am I still short the Qs? No. Something. What the hell's moving? It should be flat. There we go. So yeah, kind of a boring day, but by the way, boring is bullish. There's a saying that you should never short a dull market. Boring is bullish. Basically, everything's bullish right now. So again, one of these days, the market's actually going to break VWAP. It's going to break prior day low, and it's actually going to pull back to the prior day VWAP and break. Like I said, probably not today. Again, holiday shortened weeks are usually bullish. After the holiday is usually bullish. I think the first sell-off that might last for more than actually, we had a sell-off this morning. It lasted 22 minutes. I think we're going to go for that record on July 11th. I think we're going to sell off July 11th and maybe have some more follow-through that following Monday on the 14th. But that'll be new generational lows, and then we'll proceed. And again, if you guys know my calculations, I got some really interesting numbers for you. Hey, hold on a second. And these are real numbers. I was doing some math with some projected ranges. 2025, according to our calculations, should end around 594 on the Qs. 594 on the Qs. 2026, 724. End of 2027, 943. April 20th, 2028 at 1:43 in the afternoon will be at 1040 on the Qs. So write those down, and on April 20th, 2028, when we're 1040 at 1:43 in the afternoon, you remember this conversation like, damn. But not much going on today. So we stayed, again, it was a great stock to stay with today with the Tom Lee move. And the only one that was interesting was SMCI. Little faux show, bro. Prior day VWAP held, the pullbacks were being bought. This stock just got to a very specific area. This is your 9-month VWAP. So here's 9 months. You just broke over it, consolidation break, right? So look at the yearly now. You just consolidated, broke. This thing looks like it's got some room to go. SMCI. I tend to forget about this stock. That's a nice little break you got. This thing looks like it's headed to 50, you're in this candle at 55. It's just hard not to be bullish. There's so many stocks that are breaking out. But the solar stocks, again, back to the fake news story, they were all about the breakout. Sedge, ENPH, First Solar, right? They were all about the rip, and then the fake news story that came out. And again, whether or not you're saying to yourself, but it was a real story. No, it wasn't. Nothing Trump says or anybody in the government, none of it's real. That's your default. None of it's real. No tariffs. There's no deals. There's no war. We're not taking over Greenland. All of it's bullshit. Every news story that comes out is absolute fucking rubbish, right? So a couple of weeks ago, or was it like last week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, a lot of these solar stocks, especially Sedge, was about to break out. And just as it got out of the break, finally, after a year waiting, the next day the news hit. And what was that news? Bullshit. Something about the government pulling subsidies for solar? Bullshit. It's all bullshit. right? It was just a way to manipulate the market. They crashed those stocks, so they got short, crash it, and then the reason the recovery has been so robust is because it was a bullshit story. And now the shorts are getting annihilated, and all the longs that were in on the fake story are getting paid. So now this thing is still on the verge of a 1-year breakout. I gotta still watch the solars. Because if they can come out of these down, this stock comes out of this awful range, you got another 10 points easy on Sedge. Go back to some of those other ones like Glick. Just unbelievable. You know, we had a little blow off top action that day. I wound up selling 82.50. I think it went down 50 cents after I sold out of it. Now it's up 10 points. You can't sell, you can't short. You're just insane if you're just not. You got to be irrationally, psychotically bullish right now. So it's like if your stock's been waiting around, just wait a little bit longer. Inevitably, it'll join in on the fun, right? Like Reddit, right? We were talking about this. Like, what's going on with Reddit? Why is it participating in the rally? And then it did, and it broke over that multiple time frame VWAP. And I was like, all right, here comes the next 50 points because stocks just don't go up a little bit when they break out. They go up 10, 20, 30, 50%. And if you guys are loving this Reddit, since we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, don't sell it all because you're flirting with it breaking back above where it broke down from substantially. So you're looking for at least another 25 points to the upside on Reddit. Don't sell it, right? If you took some profits, that's okay. You do not sell the stock unless it breaks down, right? And you got to give it some breathing room. So Friday's low, that's the only spot to sell. Don't sell it because it's going to power gap probably tomorrow. And speaking of power gaps, the reason you don't want to sell the Qs, and again, I own the Qs, right? So that's why every once in a while I get a little stupid. I think I should short them as like a hedge. You see how it didn't work. I lost $80, right? But let me talk about the Qs. We're going to power gap one more time, right? And we're probably going to power gap on. So we're going to rally today. We're up tomorrow already. It's already programmed, right? We're rallying Wednesday as well. Thursday, we're going to pause, but it'll probably be, selling off now is only up $1. So we don't have down days anymore. So we'll be up $1 on Thursday because people will be nervous going into the weekend. And then we power gap right in your watch. So once we power gap on, that would be, what's the date exactly? The date would be July 7th, right? We come back on the 7th. Right? So up tomorrow, up today, up tomorrow, up. So now we're at July 3rd. July 4th, we party, 5 party, the cornhole tournament on the 5th. 6th, the 7th, and barring a nuclear war on our soil where we're all dead and we won't care about it anyway. Barring that, power gap, we're going to have another power gap on July 7th. And it's going to be sick because wherever we're at, it's going to be at least, a 1%, 1.5% power gap. So we're probably looking at 552. Yeah, so again, like I said, 562.50, at least 12.5 more points going into this week. I can't see it unless we roll over and break down. So right now, so back to the guy who asked me, so how do you stay long? Well, you sell a little bit, right? Or you do what I did, you just test the short just to prove yourself that it's never going down like I just did before, right? These multiple time frames are going to be the only reason to sell. And we're nowhere near that. So there'll be a day where all this psychotic bullishness does lead to a sell-off. And that's the day where you'll either sell or possibly try what I just did. You'll go short the Qs in your day trading account. Don't sell them. Because even when we do sell off, what's going to happen? We're going to consolidate and go higher. So I have no doubt what's happening in the next 4 years. No doubt. I have no doubt we're going with over 1,000 on the Qs, and it's going to happen faster than you ever imagined, right? Because there is nothing that's going to stop the market. Not even if Tom Lee gets negative. If Tom Lee says, "Hey, I'm shorting the market right now. I've been wrong this whole time," that'd be kind of awesome if he did come out and say that. I was only kidding. But I don't see any reason that the market doesn't continue to power higher because of what I've witnessed for the last 30 years. We haven't even got to space yet, right? Let alone outer space. You think this is a parabolic move? What? We just corrected the correction, and we just got back to all-time highs. So what? Now comes the consolidation above all-time highs, then the power gap, then the parabolic move. And then we power gap again, and then go parabolic, and that takes us up, roughly about a double from here. And again, we're talking April 20th, 2028. So mark that on your calendar and do what I'm doing, right? So anytime I make money on a day trade, buy more Qs. So if you made $1,000 today day trading, take 100, throw it on the Qs. Tomorrow you make 400, take $40, buy the Qs. You lose money? Well, don't lose money. And if you did lose money, buy the Qs anyway that day. And that's what we've been doing. So this is back. We're so back to 1999. If you ever wanted to really know what that was all about, market never went down. You would dip and rip every day, and you'd hold the Qs. You day trade, and you buy the Qs with the money. And then the Qs would go up the next day, and everybody was getting paid. And that's the environment we're in right now. There's not much else to do. Not much else to do. All right, so, and by the way, if they create options on BMNR tonight and they open up tomorrow, buy them. No matter what, just buy it. Go 50% out of the money, lotto ticket all the way. So there's no options on the stock right now. But now that it's popular, they might create options. That's what happens. Stock gets popular, a lot of volume, they petition to make options. They'll put some chains out there. And considering the stock is now in a whole other stratosphere, the options would be really pricey, but it'll probably be worth it. If they create $30, $50, $30, 35, 40, 45, 50, buy the 50s. But right now, the most important thing is you got the faux show, and the stock is in the middle of the bro, which is consolidated at a higher level. Still looks good. So let me tell you this one more time before we go. If this stock is breaking 29 tonight, buy it. And I'm talking about aftermarket. Now, if you are not risk tolerant, don't even bother trading the stock because it moves in 2.5, 5-point increments. But let me explain to you one more time. Market mechanics. Brand new stock. Nobody gives a shit about what it does or how much money they make or if they make money at all. Tom Lee's involved. You want in. Everyone's reading about it on the news wires. It's going to be up tomorrow. Doesn't matter that it's up 1,000%. It's going to go 5,000%. Right? Because it's also not hard. It's limited to borrow, but you can get a short off it. If it was impossible to borrow, I'd say there's a chance you go down. But there are morons out there, and again, I speak for them, that are borrowing the stock right now, and they're shorting it. And that's why it's not going to go down. Because shorts, we just got a short here and here. You're covering right now thinking, what the hell did I do to my life? Right? So if a stock breaks all-time highs, and, again, today's high is 29, that's all-time highs, and today's highs. If you get an all-time high break at 29 in the aftermarket, they're not going to be able to hold it back until they hold it again to the upside. And it's going to rip. And then everybody who's going to read about it tonight in their message boards, on their Discord, on their websites, in the newspaper, wherever. Everyone's going to know about this stock tomorrow. If they don't know about it today, and you might be looking at it in the 50s. I'm not fucking with you. So just like I said with ASTS, remember? You're afraid of buying the dips? All right, then at least buy it when it breaks all-time highs. You'll probably get at least 11 points out of it. How you doing? 39.08. Stop what you're doing and buy the stock. Same thing here. Momentum is a bull market, right? Nothing is better than momentum trading because momentum can keep on going. And what's lovely about these little pullbacks on this Tom Lee stock is that now those would be now it's starting to form ranges where you can trade it more conservatively, knowing that, okay, if you're buying, for instance, let's say it does break 29 tonight. That $26 area is the danger zone. But let's say it does break 29, it goes to 32.50. Then you rate, then you know 30 is the zone, and 27.50. Then it goes to $35. Use 32.50 and 30 as your areas of concern. Because there will be a rug pull, right? Like there was here. They finally rug pulled it. And what did it do? 20 got you 27.50, 25. 25 got you 22.50. 22.50 got you back down to under 20. So the same thing on the way back up. Now it breaks 29, you're getting it to the 30s. And then, like I said, I think it goes to 50 minimum. Because that's what stocks do now. They go up 10x when you break out. And as ridiculous as that sounds, look what's happening, right? It was a $4 stock. So I'm thinking 10x, $40 minimum. So you understand what I'm talking about? The lack of liquidity. Aftermarket and pre-market, you don't have the same liquidity, right? So if the popularity of the stock continues, so demand, supply, demand, right? If supply, which is limited in the aftermarket, and demand stays the same, oh, baby. You guys remember HKD? Yeah, you do. HKD? Anyone? Where's my HKD fans? Everybody always goes back to this stock. That's a real print, my friends. That's a real print in the aftermarket. Yeah. Stock went from $7 to 2,555. Mr. Jones, if you loved it at 2,555, you got to like it here at $1.20. Said some shady stockbroker the other day. And then it went from $7 to 2,553, back to zero. You guys remember that one? So anytime anybody says, oh, this thing ain't going to do. What? Why? Do you remember HKD? Somebody was actually buying that stock up there. 2,555. They thought it was a good idea. Hey, man. So what's rallied from $7 to 2,500? It's going. So you're telling me this thing can't break 29 and go to 50? HKD, baby. Let's HKD it. Like SBET. Remember SBET? $2 to 124. What? So what? It crashed back to 10. Inevitably, they'd crash. But that's what's interesting about this Tom Lee stock. Maybe it won't crash, right? Tom Lee's excited about it. You should be. Because that's how bull markets work. It's a popularity contest, right? And right now, who doesn't want to be buying a stock that Tom Lee likes, that's being short squeezed, and everybody wants in? Stick with the same stocks over and over again. And by the way, within a week or two, there will be 3 other stocks that name themselves. There'll probably be some IPOs coming out. They'll just name themselves something Bitmine or ImmersiveTechnologies.com will come out a couple of days from now. And they'll try to glom on to the excitement of this stock. because that's what bull markets. That's bull market stuff. So yeah, I mean that's it. That's been the whole day. We're just watching the Qs and trading BMNR and little S-ratted short. And here's another stock for you that obviously is never going down. CoreWeave. All right. Every time it looks like it's about to sell off, it faux show bros. So get ready for it again later today, because it's trying to go down again. It's so cute. Every time it tries to go down, it rallies 10 points. So I'll stalk this one for a buy. Gets back down to those lows. And while I got you here, if anybody has any specific questions about any names or stocks, let me shrink my head back down to the little guy over here. You guys know what? I'd like to try to make my $80 back. Should I short the Qs? Should I do something irresponsible? I don't know. I'm feeling irresponsible. But I'm not. I'm shorting them from a higher level. I'm short again. Here we go. Don't try to stop me. It's impossible. I'm a crazy person. All right, I'm short. All right. Wish me luck. Now I'm only risking a quarter, right? Not like I'm going to make money on this trade, but now I'm only risking a quarter, right? So I'm short from 78, and I'm ready to cover at 01, or basically what is it? 08. Put your feet up on the desk. Now I got some size on. Let's go. 1,000. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Should I take my $40? Should I? Lose up. Oh, there goes no money. So, guys, Tom Lee, you're only 4 points off the highs right now. I'm up $8 right now on my 1,000 QQQ short. I can get my money back right now. Oh, should have. I'm going to cover 50 shares at 66, 66, 67. Done! Woohoo! I covered some short for a winning trade. I'm going to cover some here at 56 right now. 6 covered! Woohoo! I'm going to cover 50. 50 covered! Yeah, there you go. I made my $80 back now. All right. Let's not get excited. Let's not get excited. We're short the Qs. It's basically illegal. Check outside. There's a guy probably coming for you right now. Also, the next time you're thinking about shorting the Qs, just give yourself a shot in the nuts with a freaking stun gun. All right. I'm covering right here, 50 more shares at 43. Done! All right, now I'm actually entertaining the thought of hanging in there with the short. But now that I'm short from 78 and I've made some money, I can't believe it actually worked. Shorting is short-lived and you're going to die. Don't forget rule number 1. First rule of shorting the Qs is don't expect it to work. Second rule is to remind yourself that shorting is short-lived and you're going to die. And then third rule is remember rule number 1 and number 2. And then rule number 3 is make sure you take something off the table if and when it actually is working. So now we can entertain the idea that this rollover. Sorry, I almost shat my pants just now. I've been thinking about it. The idea that we're actually going to roll over and go down. I know. See, my body just said, whoa. Even the idea of the market going down, I'm physically ill thinking about it. So while you were just delusionally thinking the market was about to go down, right in your face, they're never going to make it easy. So now you put a stop on, right at break even, so 78, and you wait for the inevitable to get out of the rest. Wow. I got to say, for about 3 seconds there, I thought we were actually going to make a little bit more money on that short. All right, we got to hang in there now. All right, we'll stay live. Do I got to go? I probably got to go. All right. I probably do have to go. All right. I'm still short the Qs right now with a tight stop on at 78, which is my entry price. But I've covered some at 68, 55, and 43. So we're in the green on this trade. Lo and behold, look at that. All right. Don't forget about BMRN. Don't forget about the rules of shorting. And don't forget, remember, parties at my house, 420, 2028, 1:43 in the afternoon. If anybody needs my home address, because we'll be partying. We'll call it the QQQ 1000 party. My house, drinks are on me. We'll have fire dancing, and we'll also have what I call the nitrous oxide tent. So the tent will be filled with just nitrous oxide. You just walk in. Everybody your friends and we'll get fucking crazy, man. We'll have a really good time. You guys know what I'm talking about. With the tank. With the tent. All right. Remember, don't be delusional now. Even though the Q short is working, we're going to have to cover. Don't forget, 550.78. But right now, you could start dreaming. Dream big. This is the big one. By the way, you should be bidding in right now to 5530 while we're here. I'm bidding in 5530 just to see if I can get something, because that's where we pivoted off last time. I don't want to entertain the idea that we could sell off, but it's sort of happening. All right, my friends, nice hanging with you. Don't forget about Tom Lee. And if you're in this QQQ short, at least we made our money back, right? All right, good. All right. Not bad. Now I want some more. All right, I'm going to go. I'll leave it here. Ready? Farewell. Nice hanging with you guys.